to First and Felonious, Week 12 episode. I'm Donovan Filoni as always, and joined with me is my co-host Andrew Cooper. How's it going, man?
What's up, dude?
Not much, man. Think we might have a shorter show tonight. Getting gearing up for the playoffs here. First we're going to go into quarter one and talk a little bit about the ACC because some crazy things have happened over the last couple of weeks. Th 2 weeks ago, I think you and I both thought it would be a three-bid league, and now they might not have any bids at all if they play their cards right. But we'll see here. Let's take a quick look at the standings. In first place, we have Georgia Tech with one conference loss. Tied with that, we have four other teams. We have the Virginia Cavaliers, Pitt Panthers, SMU Mustangs, and Duke Blue Devils, all with one conference loss. So my first question for you, which out of those teams, who do you have advancing to the ACC conference championship game?
Uh,
Or even
no,
it could be
definitely
like Louisville or Miami because they both have two losses.
Georgia Tech for sure. Uh, kind of want to say the Louisville or Miami at this point. I mean,
Yeah. I see. This is where it gets tricky for me, man, because I don't know. Like, I genuinely don't know who's going to be there. I don't think it's going to be SMU. I think I think they're going to lose a couple games here and there. I think SMU plays Louisville. I think they're going to lose that game here, and then they play Cal as well. So I think we can knock them out. I think Georgia Tech has a tough shot against Pitt here in 2 weeks. Um, but I think if even if they're two losses, I think they're pretty much in the championship game. They got Boston College this week. As a good warm up, I think. Um, Louisville has Clemson and SMU, and then the way Clemson's been playing, I think they have a shot. And then Miami's got NC State this weekend, who was Georgia Tech Killers, and then they got Virginia Tech and Pitt, which late in the season versus Narduzzi, I think is tough. But the team that I kind of want to focus in on here is the Duke Blue Devils because they got four losses right now as a whole, but only one conference loss. They got a pretty easy schedule too, considering their last three ACC games. There's versus Virginia, at North Carolina, and versus Wake Forest. Now I know Wake Forest has had a pretty good year, and UVA's offense is pretty good, but can they go? Do you think they'll go undefeated in those three games?
who's that, Duke?
Yeah.
Dude,
UVA, UNC, Wake Forest.
UVA is probably going to be without the starting quarterback, Chandler Morris. I mean, it's very possible for Duke to run the table.
So, and then when they get in the championship game, let's say they play Georgia Tech. I mean, they already played them, pretty. Didn't they play earlier this year? No, I guess they.
Uh,
Oh, yeah, they did. They played them
yeah,
pretty
they
close,
did.
27-18. And if they end up winning that game, that means the ACC has a four-loss ACC champion. Um,
None of them, I mean, one's going to get the bye, but
say that again.
I said one team, whoever wins the ACC, they're pretty much guaranteed, correct?
No, 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 they're not. So that's the conversation I kind of wanted to get to, right? Um, if Duke wins the championship, they have four losses. And I'm really not sure that ACC will be represented in the playoff. So the rule is the five highest ranked conference championships will make the playoffs. Currently, there's two conferences in G5 that are pretty high up there, and that's the American Conference with like Tulane, USF, Navy, North Texas, and then JMU with the Sun Belt as well. If Duke
Well, I thought
wins,
I thought I read something today that the JMU is a possibility they wouldn't make it.
so it just depends on how they're ranked. Like as of right now, the ACC has a lot higher teams than the Sun Belt champion, which would be JMU. So that would, this is a long shot scenario, right? But it's still kind of fun to think about if you think about it. So you could see the American Conference champion, which is like Tulane, North Texas, Navy, USF, um, and then JMU, who's the Sun Belt champion, go in over top of any ACC contenders, which I think that would be kind of interesting to see if Duke wins out and then Duke goes to the championship game of the ACC and wins that. Not going to happen, I don't think. I think you're right. I think it's probably going to be Georgia Tech, Pitt, or Georgia Tech, Miami, like we kind of thought. But I'm just not so sure. Like if this happens, it'd be interesting the precedent they set. Do they put a Duke in over a JMU or like a Tulane, for example? Would you put a Duke in over Tulane and JMU if that was to happen?
I mean, it depends on if you're going off of overall records or strength of schedule, though. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Tulane also beat Duke earlier this season, and there's a head-to-head matchup there.
Yeah, I mean, you almost have to put Tulane in, right?
Yeah, the question is JMU then, and
Yeah.
strength of schedule does matter. You're right. I think so too. But JMU almost, they had a shot at Louisville earlier in the season. They did end up losing by 2 touchdowns, but they were winning in the third quarter at one point. So I don't know, man. I just thought it was kind of interesting to see. I think we thought so highly of the ACC this year, and they're kind of just cannibalizing themselves. And I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Um, but let's, more onto the ACC. What's kind of like your most surprising team, player, or theme this year for the ACC? I have three different ones. So I don't know how many you got, but I'll let you go first with one of them.
Which one was this one again? Sorry.
The most surprising team, theme, or player?
I actually got two, maybe three surprising teams. I went with Wake
Hmm.
Forest with a brand new coach. Cal Bears, surprisingly.
Hmm.
And I kind of want to throw Duke out there, but we kind of knew Duke was going to be pretty decent with Mensa.
Yeah.
Mm,
So, well, you're thinking about that. I had in my team section of it, I had UVA and Wake Forest, right? Like UVA kind of came out of nowhere, and then, like you said, Wake Forest just is having a good year for Wake Forest. Like they've completely they've competed this year in almost every single game, and it's pretty fun to watch. They got some athletes, that running back, and then that fast receiver they got. Um, sadly, I think they'll probably hit the transfer portal by the end of the year, but they're really fun to watch, in some of these games here. And Robbie Ashford didn't look awful. And then in terms of Cal, their freshman quarterback, I was raving on him about in the beginning of the year, Saga Politelli, the freshman quarterback. I think he was really fun to watch too. And hopefully he doesn't transfer away, but I could see him maybe going to like an Oregon or something. But another like surprising theme that I had is that like most teams were kind of like evenly matched every single week. We thought like the Georgia Techs, Miami's, and like Clemson's would be leagues above everybody, but they really weren't. Georgia Tech was kind of in a dogfight every week. Miami's had two ACC losses already. Um, and then Florida State just is imploding because of Tommy Castellanos. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. So those were my three kind of like surprising teams, themes, or players.
yeah, I can agree with those.
All right. And then what's your most disappointing team, theme, or player?
I mean, Florida State.
Yeah. How does Norvell
Yeah.
still have a job, man? Outside of the Jordan Travis
Uh,
season, he's had a losing record by like a ton.
I don't know. I don't see him. I could be wrong though. I don't see how the alumni is sticking, or at least not having talks about just getting him out of there some way.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't understand. like why he thought Castellanos was an answer at quarterback. He went from DJU to Castellanos. I don't know if that was even an upgrade, if it was more of a lateral move. I just still don't understand how like a storied program like Florida State. I don't know how they picked Norvell over Dion in the first place, but like how they've kind of stuck with him. Um, I think, if they had any karma to them or want get good luck back in their sides, they offer Dion the job next year. I mean, they have to. Another disappointing team for me, unfortunately, is Virginia Tech. I kind of want to see them get back to greatness, kind of like West Virginia's doing. West Virginia's still not a great record this year, but signs of life. Where Virginia Tech, I'm not sure they had any at the beginning of the season, especially that ODU loss.
Yeah, I
Um,
definitely think that was the killer.
yeah. And then the only other theme that I had that was kind of disappointing is that, like I said, I truly thought we could have seen a 2 to 3 bid team for the playoff with the ACC, like between Miami, Clemson, Georgia Tech, and Louisville. From the way we started from the beginning of the season. But in the last 2 weeks alone, they went from, in my eyes, a 3 bid team to they'd be lucky to get one team in. I think they will get one team in, but like if that Duke scenario plays out, I'm not sure that, I'm not sure. And 3 years ago, even I would have said the ACC is the third best power conference in college football, and I don't think that anymore. I think the Big 12 has kind of passed them.
Yeah, yeah, 100% at this point.
Do you have any other disappointing themes or teams?
No, I mean, you could kind of put Miami into the mix.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Yeah.
went out and they went out and spent all that money on Carson back, but
Yeah.
I mean, really the only, you know, most disappointing team to me is definitely Florida State with all the hype they had coming in with Castellanos.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that kind of leads me to my next question then with the coaching carousel. We already have um, two jobs open this year in the ACC, Stanford and Virginia Tech. How many more vacancies do you see by the end of the year?
Honestly, I can see Florida State.
Just Florida State?
I mean, I would say NC State, but I think Dorn beating
Yeah.
Georgia Tech kind of the heat off of them a little bit.
I think gave them one more year.
Yeah. Um,
The only
what
other team
about Bill O'Brien at Boston College?
I see, I don't know, man. I'm that should have been on the disappointing side of things, right? Because I thought he was going to do well there, especially in his first year when they beat, Florida State last year. I mean, the only other team I can think of is UNC. I think Bill Belichick goes to the New York Giants here and tries to get the NFL record because he's only like 13 or 14 or 15 games away from or wins away from the all-time NFL winning record. So I think he goes back to the NFL at some point. I just think the college experiment just didn't work.
Do you think his son stays there and takes over UNC, or he goes with him?
I don't know, man. I hope he does because he left a good thing at Washington. Like he had that Washington defense rolling and then left Washington to come to UNC and they've been god awful. I mean, I hope he gets some luck his way, but I don't know. The UNC, I don't think. I think they go somewhere completely different. They have to. I think they have to go somewhere completely different than that. So, all right. So let's go ahead and close the chapter here with the ACC. I just think that we have a lot going on, and I could, kind of see some craziness happening, and that's what I'm going to be cheering for here the rest of the season. Let's move on to quarter 2 here and talk about the college football playoff. With the rankings coming out, I did another rendering of what I think the college football playoff prediction will be. And a couple of these are homer picks, but let's just run through it real quick. Number 1 seed, I have Ohio State. Number 2 seed, I have Texas A&M. 3 seed is Indiana. 4 seed is Alabama. The 5 seed is Texas Tech, and they'll play the 12 seed JMU Dukes as my G5 representative. The 8 seed Oregon will play Notre Dame at the 9 seed. The sixth seed Georgia will play the 11th seed Utah, who's been coming on as of late. The seventh seed Ole Miss will play the 10th seed Georgia Tech. And the teams I have on bubble watch is Michigan, Texas, USF, Tulane, and then Oklahoma. Um, of these teams or of these predictions here, do you have any issues with them, or do you see any surprises from my predictions?
No, I mean, I kind of would like to see JMU get in.
I think they have to keep
Mm,
showing out. They have to keep winning by the margin that they're winning by.
yeah, I mean, they're definitely going to have to win big. Um, Georgia Tech. You think Georgia Tech? Well, yeah, that'd be rough.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
what happens here is Ole Miss beats Georgia Tech, and then you have Ole Miss versus Texas A&M. I think Georgia beats Utah, and then you have Georgia, Indiana. I think Notre Dame beats Oregon. They've just been struggling lately. To go to see a rematch, either one that'll be a good rematch, Ohio State, Oregon, or Ohio State, Notre Dame. Then Texas Tech, I think it just wipes the floor with JMU. And then it provides some really interesting games in the second round. A&M versus Ole Miss, I think will be a classic shootout, but I think A&M has the blue chips there. But that would be a game that we talk about. Does rest help you or hurt you on that one? I think. Indiana, Georgia, I think the way Indiana played against Penn State, and that's a pretty good defense. I think Georgia is known to have a pretty good defense, even though maybe not this year. I think that would be a shootout too, but I think Georgia would actually win that. Notre Dame, Ohio State. Ohio State's winning that for sure. And then Texas Tech, Alabama, I think would be a fun game too. But I think Texas Tech actually would outplay Alabama there. And then Texas
really.
Tech, yeah, yeah, I think so. As long as their quarterback's healthy, it's nothing against Alabama and DeBoer because they've honestly been a top five team, top three team in the second half of the season. But I think the Texas Tech will just they just have backups everywhere that like if one man goes down, like they're good enough, I think, going forward. Um, but then I think they lose to Ohio State, and then I think A&M beats Georgia, and then we have Ohio State A&M, which is pretty chalk one versus two, but Ohio State's going to win it all this year. Um, I don't. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind at this point. I don't think they've even hit half of their playbook yet on offense.
Yeah, well, they could be hiding a lot of it too.
Yeah, and I mean, they got two number one or first round pick wide receivers, Carnell Tate and Julian Sayin, and it's just not fair. So let's move on to quarter three and get into some superlatives. Player of the week last week. I'll go first for this one. It is my guy Nate Frazier, running back from Georgia. 12 carries for 181 yards and one touchdown. And then domination of the pretty decent Mississippi State team who seem to be in every single game except for this one to kind of just remind them who's the boss of the SEC still. Let's see if they can do it this week versus Texas. I think that'll be a pretty good matchup to see. Who's your player of the week?
I went with Omar Cooper, man. What a catch in the back of the end
Yeah.
zone for Indiana. I mean,
Yeah.
he didn't, unbelievable grab. I had to go with him.
Does that has to be in the top five catches of all time in college football, right?
One definitely the best catch of the year
And
so far.
then no, I meant of all time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it has to be up there, dude, to win the game. I mean, what Mendoza had to do to even scramble out of that, and then the ref being right there and have the mindfulness to like look at all points of it without a controversial review, like holy smokes. And Libby called it out there too, like right away. She was like, that was an amazing catch, like holy crap. So, do you have any other players of the week?
Nah, just that one, man. You make a catch like that, it's hard to top.
Yeah, I figured that was gonna be other, but I had to give Nate Frazier a little shout out too. Game of the week. There was a couple you could pick from. So where did you go with this one?
Yeah, I thought the Wake Virginia game was pretty good, but it's kind of hard for me to go away from the Indiana Penn State,
Yeah,
especially in the fourth quarter with Mendoza driving down the field, some very accurate balls, and I mean, just he held it together. He was getting pressured, I think, when he was on the goal line, and I think it was a penalty, and he still kept his composure and to deliver a pass like that and trust his receivers in the back of the end zone.
yeah. I mean, yeah, that was one of them. I mean, you could have gone Oregon, Iowa, even though it was a nasty game. Like that was fun to watch. The Wisconsin Washington game where the longest pass by Wisconsin was by their punter, or the most yards in passing yards was by their punter, and they still won the game. Like that was kind of crazy. But my game of the week was the West Virginia Colorado with two freshman quarterbacks going at it, Juju Lewis and Scotty Fox Jr. I mean, that was just a fun game to watch. It was like offense and then turnovers and then just offense again, kind of electric quarterback play. I think both quarterbacks have a really good future. I really hope Rich Rod gets his guys in because the Scotty Fox Jr. seems like one of his types of quarterbacks. And then Juju Lewis just, I mean, that was his first start in a game, and he looked like he's been there all year. Like he looked really, really, really good. No idea why they started Slater over him at, at all. I had zero idea. Okay, winner of the week. I'll go first with this one. I have Indiana and Oregon. They squeaked away two close wins. Oregon had a tough Iowa style game in disgusting weather, and Iowa I thought could have pulled it off. But Oregon stayed strong and won that. And then, like you said, I mean, Indiana the catch. I think that's going to be what that game's known for is just that catch to win the game. So who are your winners of the week?
I went with Texas Tech and Indiana.
Yeah, Texas Tech beat the brakes off of BYU, man. And the score like looked somewhat close. Was it 29-8 or something like that? But it wasn't close at all.
No, that's the Texas Tech team that we expected to see
Yeah,
all year.
that defense just eats, man. Like I don't know. Losers of the week. Who are your losers of the week?
I gotta go UVA, man. They had a chance to control their destiny in the ACC, and they did not get it done.
No, yeah, I mean, losers of the week for me, I think just kind of on that theme as well as the ACC as a whole. Like I said, I really am cheering for chaos. I hope, NC State beats Miami this weekend and Duke wins out. And, I want to see as much chaos as possible. And I want to see Duke win the ACC and kind of put the committee in a blender and to see what they do, to see if two, G5 teams who could be deserving the way they've been playing all year get a shot at it over an ACC team. But we'll see. I like you said, I don't truly think that'll happen, but man, that would be fun if it did, wouldn't it? Okay, so let's go into quarter four here. Finish up a little bit early tonight. We have game picks. Louisville or Clemson at Louisville. Louisville's favored by 3.5. I don't know why I think the wrong team's favored here. Give me Clemson.
Yeah, this one was kind of a tough one for me because I feel like Clemson played a really good game last week. Give me Clemson.
I forgot to update the records, so let me do that here real quick. Andrew's 78 and 38, and pretty much won the season already. I'm 65 and 51. My locks are 63 and 51. So, all right, here we go. Notre Dame at Pitt. Did you see Narduzzi's comments about this game this week?
No, I don't know.
He said he asked if he had felt any pressure playing Notre Dame. He goes, "No, we could lose by 100 this week, and I wouldn't care. What matters is the two games after that for the ACC title game." As a player, if you've heard that, like, what would you think? That's not somebody you'd want to go to battle for, is it?
No, because it's pretty much already saying you're probably gonna get your butts kicked.
Yeah, I mean. obviously that's the quiet part. You don't say the quiet part out loud, but like you can't say that in a press conference. And I mean, that's exactly why Notre Dame's going to beat them by more than 12 and a half points. So give me Notre Dame here.
Oh yeah, yeah, I'm Notre Dame all the way.
Arizona at Cincy. Cincy's favored by 6.5. Cincy controls their own destiny in the Big 12. And I think they actually win this game here. Arizona's pretty good, sneaky this year, but Cincy soars me. I like them better. 6.5 points. Give me Cincy.
Yeah, I'm sticking Cincy.
USF versus Navy. This is for prime position in the American Conference. USF's favored by 9.5. I think Byron Brown and the boys get it done as well. Navy's gonna start to tail off here towards the end. So give me USF. Sorry, not UCF, USF.
Yeah, give me Golish and the boys.
Oklahoma versus Bama. Bama's favored by 5.5. Who you got?
Bama because it's at home.
Yeah, I do too, and I don't think it's going to be particularly close. UVA versus Duke. Duke's favored by 3.5. Like I said, I want chaos, so give me Duke.
Yeah, I went with Duke. I think Chandler Morse is out, correct?
I'm not 100% sure, but even if he is there, like I still think UVA's defense is Swiss cheese. Not that Duke's defense is much better, but Mensa's a more than serviceable quarterback, and he's been having that offense rolling all year.
Yeah, I'm still sticking with Duke.
Iowa versus USC. USC is favored by 6.5. Having a sneaky good second half of the season after the Illinois loss. Who you got in this game?
I'm going USC.
Yeah, I'm going Iowa here. I think they showed me something versus Oregon, and I think toughness will matter in this game. Memphis versus ECU. Memphis, a big loss I believe it was last week, to kind of get them out of the G5 race, but I think they still have a shot if some more chaos ensues. ECU, on the other hand, is only one loss in the American Conference as well, so fighting for that title game. ECU is favored by 2.5. I'm going Memphis here, but ECU, not a bad team.
Yeah, I went Memphis only because in the last, what, 5 games, both teams lost to Tulane. And if you look at ECU's schedule in the last three that they've won, they played a Tulsa team, a Temple team, and a Charlotte team. I just think
Yeah.
Memphis gonna be a little bit too much this week.
Yeah, Charlotte's not good. Tulsa's decent, Temple's decent, but okay. Memphis as well. Texas versus Georgia. Georgia's favored by 5.5. I think Texas actually takes this one. I think they might meet again in the playoffs, and Georgia will take that one. But I think Arch and the boys get a big dub here.
I went with Gunner Stockton and the boys only because it's at Sanford Stadium and it's a 7:30 game.
Yeah, I realized that after I picked them that it was a night game, but I don't know. I'm scared of more SEC teams at night than Georgia Stadium at night. So, which might be wrong thinking, but who knows? Mississippi State versus Mizzou. Mizzou's favored by 7.5. I think Mississippi State bounces back here. Give me Mississippi State.
Isn't Missouri? Yeah, they're without their quarterback.
And their top two quarterbacks are out,
Mm,
but that defense is nasty. And
yeah, so is
They got Ahmad Hardy at running back.
yeah, Mizzou's running back is nasty, but I just don't see
Bluff Buffalo, buddy.
7:45, 7:45 at Mizzou.
This should be a good game, I think. I think this would be better than
Yeah,
people think.
I think this is going to be underrated. Mizzou fell Texas A&M last week. Give me Mississippi State here.
All right, and that was the last of our games. Let me go through some locks of the week. We'll start off G5, Coastal Carolina versus Georgia Southern. We rode Coastal last week. They looked really, really good, so we're going again. Coastal plus 2.5. Clemson versus Louisville. I already think Clemson's is going to win, so give me Clemson plus 3.5. Oregon versus Minnesota. Minnesota or Oregon's favored by 25.5 points, but Minnesota's a lot like Iowa, and I think 25 is too many. So give me Minnesota plus 25.5. Texas A&M versus South Carolina. There's too many points again. Lenore Sellers and Texas A&M, they haven't lost a game yet, and I wonder if they drop a random one. So give me South Carolina plus 19.5. USF versus Navy, give me over 65.5. I think that's just going to be a shootout. West Virginia versus Arizona State. We rode West Virginia last week. We're riding them again. Give me West Virginia plus 10.5. Oklahoma versus Bama. Bama's favored by 5.5. I think they win by 2 touchdowns. So Bama minus 5.5. Iowa versus USC. Iowa coming off of a tough loss. I think they forced their will on the line of scrimmages here on defense. So under 49.5, a low scoring game for that. UCLA versus Ohio State. Give me under 48.5. I don't think UCLA is going to score. And I think Ohio State will keep it around 30 points like they've done all season. And then Mississippi State versus Mizzou. Give me Mississippi State plus 7.5. All right.
No,
All right. Well, that's the show for this week. A little bit shorter of an episode. Thank you guys for listening. We'll do maybe one or two more conferences next week, and we're getting closer and closer to the end of the season here. So the playoffs will conversations will heat up a little bit more as the weeks go on. If you have any questions or topics you want us to talk about, just shoot us a DM or text, and we will see you next week.